Hello, Rabbi Manis Friedman. Hello. Thank God it's Tuesday. Happy 2024. As I said to our audience, really, really hope it's going to be a good year. Well, sane would be probably best because it starts out as usual with some insanity going on and some kind of silly insanity. I hope that it's not as serious as maybe it's more serious than we think it is, as I just told our audience about the little action that happened over last Sunday in London in their subway system. All of a sudden, hundreds of people decided to take off their trousers, men, women alike, and ride the subways with no pants. This is something, this kind of, interesting tradition originated in 2009. They had a little bit of a break over the COVID period. It wasn't something on people's mind, but now that the COVID is over and I guess everything else in the world is fine and dandy, they're going back to taking off their trousers in the middle of the winter, getting on the subway and, collectively having this kind of action going on. And I really, really would like to make some sense of it because I'm having very hard time. I mean, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world, atrocities and, things that should occupy our mind, make us a little bit more serious about life. But yet we have hundreds of people who in January take off their trousers in the middle of London and ride the subway. What do you think is the drive here? What do you think is the point? What are people trying to accomplish with actions like that, if anything?
Why only on the subway?
I don't know. It's a little warmer there. Maybe on the street it's still kind of chilly in the middle of January. I don't think it's very warm in the subway either in the in the winter, but yet it seems to people seem to think it's a good idea to do something like this. Like, what is it? What could possibly drive a person to do something like that? And I gotta say, this is not the only time. What is this with clothes off in public and collective clothes off? I mean, in Russia, a few weeks before New Year's, famous people got together and had a semi-naked, I guess, holiday celebration where, things were maybe not completely off, but almost off, see-through, and there were actors and actresses and famous people who gathered together and in this provocative style and thought it was very cute. They were actually reprimanded by Putin. He actually stripped some people of their titles, and some people who went really overboard got drafted. And I don't know, he kind of took measures. In London, no one is taking measures. In time.
No, Putin is in favor of taking off your shirt, not your pants.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very particular. Yeah. Now, I'm afraid that it's basically a return to childhood. We can't handle being adults. So it's not so much sexual as it is infantile. I'm sure the psychiatrists will agree with that. It's like wishing that they could be babies again. And, the first symptom of a baby is he doesn't have to be dressed. That's pretty desperate. I mean, everyone would like to have the innocence of a child. But this is not exactly the way you go about it. Taking off your clothes doesn't make you more innocent. Yeah, so why is it so scary to be an adult? But it is. People don't want to get married, too adult. They don't want to become parents, way too adult. They don't even want to have a job because it's adult-like. It's the behavior of a grown-up, and nobody wants to be a grown-up. In fact, you look at all the commercials, and I think we've spoken about this. All the commercials are grown-ups acting like babies. They're having a great time splashing in the water and running and jumping. And they're just babies. Taking off your clothes is going back to infant. But all the commercials are childish. The thrill of being a child. Now it's the thrill of being a fetus. I mean, that's going to be the next step.
Rabbi Friedman, I remember that I think my biggest fear as a child was those silly dreams that children do have, and I know about that, something got tucked in improperly and something is showing somewhere and people are laughing at you for it. When you're a little child, actually you're so afraid to be caught with, something showing, something improper showing. And over here, people are volunteering to appear improper. And look how the countries are reacting. Some countries are reprimanding it. At some point, United States, we had such a thing as indecent exposure, and it was punishable. People either got tickets or even got arrested for indecent exposure. Now there's no such concept as indecent exposure. I mean, in Russia it is, apparently, as we just read about it. But in other countries, like more Western countries, like America, England, not so much. I mean, what is happening with the society? How are we supposed to understand this?
Well, it is still illegal. There are laws against public indecency. I guess the leadership understands the needs of the people. Right? They always do, don't they? They're like indulgent parents. So what do we do to grow up? Why grow up? Why should we even want to grow up? There really is no good answer. In a secular world, there is no answer. I don't want to grow up, so don't. Who's going to care? Your mother? The only reason to grow up is because there's a plan, there's a purpose. God created the world for a reason, and He's depending on us to fulfill that plan and fulfill that reason and that purpose. If you don't think so, if you don't feel that, if you don't agree with that, then stay a baby. Why not? Go back into diapers. But who is going to lose out in the end? The Creator. And he has to blame himself because he gave us freedom of choice. That is very sad. And that's why secular inevitably leads to death. If there's no good reason for living, then dying becomes more interesting. So the whole society now is based on the appeal or the attraction to death. Abortion, assisted suicide, voluntary suicide, not getting married, not having children, birth control. It's all leading towards non-life. No one wants life anymore. And then we get all sanctimonious about people getting killed in Ukraine or people getting killed in Gaza. Don't be a hypocrite. You don't believe in life, so calm down. You can't be righteous about life everywhere else and worship death in your own life. It's very confused. Very sad. No one should kill anyone. But no one should give life to anyone either. Even the trans insanity. That means you'll never have children. That's the immediate first result. If you have an operation, you'll never have children. End of life. You're the last link in the chain. Somebody gave birth to you, but that's over. You are not going to give birth to anybody. It all leads to the same place. Not living. Regressing back to not being born. So we went from being immature adults to being teenagers again, to being children again. Now we're down to babies again. What is the next step? We're all going to revert back to the fetal position.
And then what, Rabbi Friedman? What happens then?
There isn't going to be much. But those people who still believe in life will take over the world.
Rabbi Friedman, I mean, we speak about it every time because it's getting harder and harder. It's getting harder and harder to be the one who understands, be the one who understands that there's more to life and wanting that more and trying to achieve it in every which way possible, I guess, I hope, and seeing that the world is not budging. I mean, and it's a very difficult wait. It seems like we're in such a limbo right now. I mean, we can see this regression into a fetal position that the world has taken. Everything is breaking down as we see it. All the systems are collapsing in front of our eyes. But, we know that there's something coming. But at the same time, it's a little bit of a helpless and an annoying state of being.
Yeah, the only good news is that it's not staying steady. It's dropping quickly, which doesn't let you forget how wrong it is and how right you are. So there is a little bit of an encouragement there. If things moved slower, it would be more painful. But things are moving very quickly. In every area, in every field, in everything. Wherever you turn. Chaos. Chaos. Not a philosophy that is wrong. There's no philosophy, it's chaos. It's whatever moves you at the moment.
But how do we deal with chaos? We're living in chaos. How do we deal with it?
There's this comedian who says all these protests and all these marches, anti-occupation, end the occupation is evil. He says, I have a good suggestion. Go get an occupation. Go get a job. What are you doing marching around the streets all day long? Anti-occupation. It's exactly what it is. No one wants a job anymore. Now, I shouldn't say no one, but that has become the popular theme. Down with life. Is there hope for those people? If they keep going the way they're going, they'll succeed. They will put an end to their lives. So we have to go to the opposite extreme. Not be reasonably sane. We have to be extremely excited and motivated by life. Giving life, producing life, saving life, enhancing life, living life. And life means pursuing the purpose for which we were created. If you're pursuing the purpose for which you were created, even if you make some mistakes, it's okay. You're pursuing. You're not perfect at it. But if you're pursuing the purpose for which you were created, you're doing wonderfully. When Mashiach comes, we'll perfect it. Now we don't have to be perfect. We have to pursue. Because if you don't pursue up, then you go down. If you don't pursue life, you become enamored with death. It's polarized. There's very little in between. There's very little middle ground.
Rabbi Friedman, can you give us a suggestion of how to be, even, when it, as we just spoke about, getting a job, being productive in this world, in this realm where we live, where we see things are completely crumbling. We can see the economy, everybody's predicting a crash. We know things are breaking down in front of our eyes. Where do we, in this world, where do we find strength to keep going? Not just in the spiritual realm. Well, I don't want to say just, mainly in the spirit. But how do we stay here grounded, still understanding that things are breaking down?
There's an attitude of apathy where I don't care. If you talk to people, they'll tell you, I tried to care. I did. For many, many years, I cared. All it did was make me anxious. All it did was lead to frustration. Because I can care, but there's nothing I can do to change the world. So it's a very uncomfortable place to be, where I care that the world is messed up, but there's nothing I can do to fix it. So the only way out is to stop caring. Like the guy said, he's very upset because he read in the papers that if you smoke cigarettes, you get cancer, and he's a heavy smoker. So the guy says, so what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to stop reading newspapers. Why create anxiety? So by caring, I create anxiety. So the solution is, I don't care anymore. And it really doesn't make a difference to me anymore. Now you can argue, you should care, it does make a difference. Or you can simply say, you're right. You don't care. Because it's not your problem. It's God's problem. It was never meant to be yours. So you say, oh, well, I don't care. Okay, fine. Makes a lot of sense. But God cares. So do what God cares about, and you will be busy and productive, and you still won't care, because it's not your problem. In other words, trying to make it personal, like it's my problem and I have to care about me, no, you don't. You have to care about the purpose. And I think that's actually an improvement. You can live your life because you care, and that's okay, that's good. It's not the truth. But if you're living life because God cares, that's the whole truth. That's even better. So rather than get depressed over the fact that I don't care because it's not my issue. It's not my creation. It's not my world. So yeah, I would love to see Tikkun Olam. But, if it's not going, it's not going. What am I going to do? The answer is, you want to see Tikkun Olam? Why? Is it your world? You invested in this. So again, the answer can only come from the truth. And the truth is very lacking. Very little attention is given to truth. Everything is Hollywood. We live in a culture of fantasy. We grow up on cartoons, then we graduate to meaningful movies, then we move up to psychedelics, anything but the truth. So it's all, life has become Hollywood. The sensitive people realize this is not even worth the effort. It's not worth the effort. I can try really hard and succeed. And when I succeed, I'm going to ask myself, so what? And I won't have an answer.
Rabbi Friedman, this is the biggest question. How do we continue living the life that we are living, going to work, making a living, functioning in this world, understanding that it does not work? It doesn't work. And whatever we're working towards, we don't know anymore. Realistically, okay, yes, to pay the bills, it's very important because we still have to play by the rules of this world, and this is how it's been set up, and this is what we have to do. But it seems to be senseless. Even this is beginning to seem senseless at this point.
This is what you have to do if you're an adult. But since being an adult is a little too demanding and a little too difficult, the solution is, okay, I'm not an adult. If a man can identify as a woman, why can't an adult identify as a child? That's what we're doing. Take your clothes off and parade around in the streets as if you were a year old.
Is it hurting?
Now I don't have to go to work.
I think some of those people were going to work. They were wearing suits on top, but nothing on the bottom. So I don't know how that works out exactly either. But
it's so perfect. The metaphor is so perfect. I'm supposed to be an adult, so I'm wearing a jacket. but I'd rather be a baby, so I take off my pants. Perfect.
Rabbi Friedman, but is it hurting the society that people are doing this, or people truly do think that this is a personal choice, self-expression, some fun, because it seems like some people thought it was a lot of fun to look like this and walk around like this, and everybody was really, really enjoying themselves?
It's a lot of fun to be a baby. In fact, that's the last time you really had any fun. Brings back good memories.
But should it be categorized as self-expression and I'm not hurting anybody?
No, it's not self-expression. It's desperation. It's an unhealthy desperation. And you can smile through it all and, pose for the camera and everything, but you're acting on desperate. Your fuel is desperation. That's not healthy. It will not lead to anything better. It will just continue to go down.
Well, this is another thing. All the people that are doing it, they're in denial that they're desperate. No one is going to admit I took off my pants because I'm desperate. No one is going to say that I'm parading myself around. No, everybody's saying this is just a little harmless fun. This is, something, to take the edge off of whatever is happening around.
You see that? Take the edge off. That means you're desperate. Because you're on the edge. If it's not desperation, what is it? Genius? It's a brilliant idea that a brilliant mind came up with. What would it be like to go to work without pants? Only a genius could think that, right? No, it's pathological. It is pathological. It is a symptom of illness in a society. It's not just those people. What kind of society, what kind of philosophy, what kind of a lifestyle produces this? It didn't come out of nowhere. It's a result, a byproduct of the teachings, the beliefs, the education, the values. All of this produces even reactions based on what you believe. So if the reaction is very unhealthy, there must be something unhealthy in the philosophy that produces it. If everybody in town is violent, it's not just a mood, it's a belief, it's a conviction, it's a value, and it's being promoted. So if there's chaos going on, okay, how are we producing, educating, and teaching chaos? Because that's what we're doing. So you can't just shrug and say, oh, those crazy people. Crazy people come out of the design that you have for life.
Rabbi Friedman, it does not seem like there is something anybody can do at this point. Realistically, we those who are sane, who understand the truth, who seek the truth, we're seeing what's going on, but it seems like there's nothing that we can do anymore. It seems like this is happening. It's beyond our control. Obviously, this is led by something way higher than we are, and we are who we are, and we're just waiting it out. It seems to be a perception of a lot of people that this is where we're at right now. Is there, besides just in our own little environment where we can make a difference, is there anything that we can do on the bigger picture? Is it realistic, or is it not up to us anymore at all?
Now, there's a lot we can do, because this kind of craziness is not compelling or convincing. It's just desperation. So if you offer an alternative, people will grab it. The problem is, there are those who are pro-death and there are those who are pro-life. And the attitude is, you got to pick one or the other, and they're both pretty much the same. Meaningless. So you can be meaningless in death and you can be meaningless in life. So fine, do it whichever way you want. But there's no reason, there's no real motivation to choose life over death. So people say, okay, I like vanilla, you like chocolate. I like death, you like life. It's a matter of taste. No, it's not. Those who choose life have a very good reason, have a very good explanation, have a plan. It's doable. And that can be convincing to people. So it's not like the desperation is that you have to go one way or the other, and either way is no good. Either life or death, but either way it's no good. Life is too stressful, death is too permanent. Yeah, at least it's that. It's not the same. Choosing life is a real philosophy. It's a real belief. It's substantial. It's noble. It's compelling. Death is just desperate. So why do the people who choose life act as if, yeah, well, you got to choose one or the other? I chose life. In different words, if your choice of life is not compelling to you, compelling enough that you could explain it to someone who has chosen death, then you don't really appreciate your life. So those of us who choose life have to understand why we choose it, what made us choose it, why it's the right thing to choose it, so that it's even convincing and compelling to those who chose death. It's an interesting thing in the Gemara and the Talmud. It says you should not engage in debates with non-believers. But then the Mishnah says, know what to say, how to answer the non-believer. Well, what's the point of knowing what to say to them if you can't talk to them? So one of the answers is, because if you don't know what to say to them, then you're a little bit of a non-believer yourself. So you have to know what to say to a non-believer, not for the non-believer's benefit, for your own benefit. If you can't convince a person who is despairing of life, if you can't convince him that life is great, is your life great? Because if it really was, you'd be able to explain it convincingly. So there is a lot we can do, must do. It's not to say, okay, they're not going to have any children anymore, so I guess they're just going to become extinct. We're going to have children and we'll hang around for a long time. Doing what? I don't know, we're just going to be here. They're not going to be here. I don't know which one is better. I don't know. Living for no reason and dying for no reason. Which one is better? I don't know. I can tell you which one is easier. So we better have some good explanations for why we choose life. And then share it and turn people around. Yeah, we can do a lot. It's what we're doing right now.
Rabbi Friedman, how would you summarize why we choose life?
We choose life because we are not laboring under the misconception that this is about me and my success and my pleasure. If it's not about me and my success and my pleasure, then what is it about? Something much bigger, much truer, something eternal, something infinite. And I can be part of that, as tiny as I am. That's a great deal you don't want to pass up on. So, life is enjoyable because we know why. If you don't know why, you can live life successfully, but not enjoyably.
Amazing, Rabbi Friedman. Thank you so much. And
anyway, it's the curse of intelligence. Why can't you just live and have fun? Oh no, it produces anxiety. Why? Why can't we be infants without pants? Why? Why do we always have to ruin every good party? Let people enjoy pantslessness. They're having fun. Isn't that good enough? They're not having fun because they have a brain. And their brain is in trauma, watching themselves behave brainless. The brain can't handle that. It's the curse of intelligence. Intelligence seeks purpose, direction, sense. Sitting on the subway without pants, there's no purpose, there's no direction, there's no substance, there's no meaning, and your brain is freaking out. So, in order to enjoy life like a fetus, or like an infant, we have to have a lobotomy. You got to shut down your brain. So, no, it can't work. Intelligence demands sense and purpose.
Rabbi Friedman, last question, if I may, to understand. Those who understand the purpose, who see the truth, who choose life, have to live in this environment that, as you have put it, is very childish, and it's very, very hard to, the more it goes on, the harder it is. What would be your suggestion? How do we not get tired of this? How do we not lose our hope, our drive, our sense of purpose in this life? Basically, how do we not get tired of seeing what we see and living in the environment where we live, where we know that this is not it. This is not what we're meant for.
Well, very little in life is what is meant for. Everything in our lives is meant for a purpose. Being a fetus has no purpose and no meaning unless you get born. Getting born has no meaning and no purpose unless you learn something and find out who created you and why. So everything in the universe leads to something better. It must be a symptom of the end of days, of the times of Mashiach, where we all know it's got to lead to something better, but we don't see anything better. Bigger house, 2 houses, 8 houses. What are you going to do with them? So what we used to think is better turns out to be in need of purpose themselves. Having 8 houses, for what purpose? We're back to the same problem again. So now we're realizing having houses, even having 1 house, so what? What's the purpose? So I'm homeless. What's the difference? What's the purpose? So if we are proactive, if we take on the challenge, yes, there's a lot of craziness going on around you. Can you help out? Don't just sit there in judgment. Roll up your sleeves and get into it. Start moving people in the right direction. Then you don't feel helpless at all. But to just sit there and agonize over how the world is deteriorating, it's a little fun, but not for very long.
Not for even a little while. Rabbi Friedman, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you for the direction. Thank you for, letting us see things a little bit easier, a little bit better, having more hope. It's amazing. Thank you for doing exactly what we need right now. This type of direction is exactly what we need, because we see this craziness and it just throws you off, even though you understand and kind of have the focus, but just these little crazy things, they do throw you off the track. And thank you for being there for us and setting us straight and letting us see things clearly and not get lost in our crazy world.
Well, you're the one that's doing it. I'm just talking.
Rabbi Friedman, you're amazing. Thank you so much. It's a huge blessing for us to have you here once a week to set us straight. And thank you for everything that you do for the world every single day. And the wonderful Beis Hana that is right now having a retreat with the college girls. And I think this Friday starts the retreat for women. So if there's women out there who has not done this, I strongly recommend it. It's amazing. It's a different world. It's a different environment. It's a real lifesaver in our day and age. So beishana.org, check it out. It's in Florida. It's in a great place with a great crowd with terrific teachers and leaders, and it's amazing. Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much. We're learning from you. We're really getting inspired by everything you and everyone around you does, and thank you so much. So hopefully,
and thank God for Tuesdays.
Yes, I say that every single week. Thank God it's Tuesday. So
what would we do without a Tuesday?
I wouldn't be here probably at all. Rabbi Friedman, thank you so much, and so looking forward to hopefully next week some good news to discuss. Would love that.
Amen.
Thank you so much.